нужно для современных, вот так лучше сказать. Есть три вещи, которые нужно, на что нужно использовать время. Три вещи, на что нужно использовать время. Три наилучшие способа, как потратить время так, чтобы не жалеть. А то, что мы зарабатываем деньги, и мы ходим на работу, но это всего лишь компенсация за то, что мы арендуем свое время.
So when we work, we are simply trading our time, trading our life just for that work. For example, imagine if we work 8 hours of the day. Like we sleep 8 hours, do other things for 8 hours. So let's say out of 24 hours, we work 8 hours. So these 8 hours, we're actually giving them to someone else. We're giving it to our job. We go to our job or we give away our time then. Well, the best place to give your money, give your time, is on your life's calling. It's to find out what God has set for your life and spend those 8 hours on fulfilling what God has expected you to do. However, if you are working at a job where you're not able to combine your job and your life's purpose, then you need to take a second look at your life. Or you can try to combine it in a different way. So for those remaining 16 hours that you have, you need to find at least 3 or 4 hours of a day which you can dedicate to your life's purpose. This is apart from the 8 hours that you spend at work. But the ideal circumstance, the ideal way to spend your time is by fulfilling your life's purpose. But let's return to this later. So let's say the 24 hours we have in a day, there are 3 things that we can best spend our time on. And not one of those 3 things is on receiving a salary or going to your job. Because when we're working for a salary, we never fully realize our life's calling. Also, we are giving our time to our employer. We're giving it to someone else. We're giving it to our employer. So what is a salary? A salary is when you are given about 10% of the value that you give the company. So you never actually receive all that you are worth at a job. Because part of it goes to different expenses, others go to other people's salaries, others goes on to the boss. So it's impossible for you to fully get paid the right outcome. You would only receive about 10 or 15% of what you created. So, what does this mean? This means if you're working on your life's purpose, you'll be able to increase this 10% to about 90%. This is if you actually work on yourself, if you have good preparation, and you create good values inside of you, then you'll be able to increase the percentage of the value that you get actually to yourself from 10% all the way to 90%. So this is what I mean when I say when we work at a job, at a common job, we're selling ourselves cheaply. We're not only cheaply selling our time, but actually our own essence. Because our life is comprised of time. Everything is comprised of time. Everything is formed from time. And if we spend 8 hours a day on our job, then combine that for a year, for 2 years. This is how people spend 30 years, 20 years, maybe even 40 years of their lives. So what can you show for these 40 years? You can only see it when you start balding or in your old age or when you are a pensioner. What did you do with your life? You've really exchanged your life on the cheap. You have exchanged your whole life, about 40 years of your life, just for a salary, for a small compensation of your true worth. You gave up your life just to barely maintain. This is like Isaac in the Bible who had to sell his first son. So this is our birthright, who sold his birthright for some food. And our birthright is our life. So when we give away our time, especially to a dead-end job, to a job that is not your life's purpose, we are actually betraying God. Because God has sent us to this earth to fulfill His mission, His purpose. When we live, we're thinking we need to survive, we need to feed our kids, we need to bring money into the home. And we look around us, we see how people live, and you think, oh, it means we have to go to work. So everybody copies the world around each other and goes to work. However, this sort of life is not for God, it's just for ourselves. We forget that we have a calling, we forget we're here for a reason. We just run from one job to another to survive, where they will pay us more. Everything is about a salary. And this is the weakest type of life. Anyone who lives this life will never be fulfilled. It's sad. And if we look at the lives in the Soviet Union, they were actually proud that no one does not have a job, everybody has some sort of income. That's all that people cared about, to have a job. This is like how the president of Belarus, Lukashenko, says. He's like, the citizens want freedom, they want independence. But all he talks about is, oh, see, the factories are working. What else do you need? You just need to go to work. He does not understand that this job has become slavery. When people don't fulfill their purpose, that becomes slavery. And don't worry, this is all over the world. It's even worse out west, because you need to pay for bills, you need to pay for your apartment, for your car, for medicine, for insurance. There's so many bills, so many expensive, and you feel like your job is the only way to survive. Not many think about many other things. So God has not created us to just run around with no purpose. We have a mission, and His heart hurts over it. And because of this, He has created each and every one of us for this mission to be fulfilled. So the ideal way to use your time is to fulfill your mission, to fulfill your purpose. That is the ideal way to spend your time and your life. But many people don't really deep this, they don't comprehend that time is life. So this example where you have worked at a job for 30 years and you're already 60, you're already a pensioner, then you look back and you're like, wow, my life has really gone. So time is life. So I'm just saying that you shouldn't be super proud that you have a job. If you think back to the Soviet Union, going to a job was a good thing, was a proud thing. It means he has a good head on his shoulders. If he wanted to work, if he had a good job. Like you think, oh, well, it's better than him drinking or smoking. It means he's at least spending his time doing something good. But from the terms of God, from the perspective of eternity, a job is not the ideal way to spend your time. An ideal life is when we fulfill our purpose. So, there are 3 directions that we can spend our time in order to fulfill our purpose. So these 3 things will help you fulfill your purpose. So what are these 3 things? Number 1, and the most important, is what I already mentioned. Spend your time on working on yourselves. Spend your time on inputting values inside of you. Spend your time to create a high quality product out of yourself. Make yourself an expert in something. We can't be experts in everything. You can't be an engineer and a physician and a doctor and a lawyer all at once. However, in that one direction, in that one place where you feel like you have been sent by God, or that direction where you really have a passion towards, or those places where you have a true talent, where you really have a love for it, where you have some inclination towards it. It doesn't have to be one thing. It could be 2 directions, it could be several directions. But at least that means you'll be spending your time towards something that is worth it. So when you spend your time on learning knowledge about those directions, when you become more wise in those spheres, when you really work hard on becoming a specialist in these areas, when you know more about your surroundings, then you become a person of value. So I'm sitting down now, talking into the camera, and everybody sees me all around the world. We're connecting all of you together. Somebody worked upon themselves to become a specialist in media, in all these technology. So everything is possible. He found a good direction for himself. So someone could be an expert in this direction or in another direction, because the more the better. And if you have an inclination inside of you that this is the direction you should go, you need to put a lot of time into it. You need to become a high quality specialist in the area. You need to become a professional in it. It is how it is said in the world. You need to become a boss. You need to become a tough out. You need to become a heavyweight in not only the knowledge in your specialty, but also in life, in the questions of life, in the meaning of life. That is where God has called you to be. It could be anything. It could be psychology, it could be pastoring, it could be medicine. Just where you feel that this is your part. This is where you can put your time. This is where you need to create values and put them into yourself. You need to become a true and real person. This is how people will then see you, and your salary will depend off that. If you can give other people what no one else knows, or what no one else can give them, your value will rise. And don't worry, that's not even the most important thing. The most important thing is that you are doing this to please God, that you're fulfilling the will of God, and you're fulfilling your mission. But the most important value should be yourself. You shouldn't let time to just pass by. 20 hours, 24 hours, and then it'll be a day, and next thing you know, your whole life has passed. We should not allow this to happen. We should try to fully use our time to work on ourselves, work on our knowledge, to find out new information, new knowledge. This will be what will make you different, and it is what you should spend your time on. If you just consider yourself a specialist, a doctor, for example, and then you lose your job suddenly, or you become a pensioner, you don't know how to do anything else. You are now a very one-dimensional man who can't help anyone. But if you are not only a doctor, for example, but on your own time you worked on different directions in life, in your passions, on other things you're interested. So you know how my wife is a pastor, and what she studied in school is actually being a mechanic, an engineer. But do you know that she is now getting her second or third degree in a whole different subject? She's even having classes right now as we speak. She's studying psychology. Can you imagine? She's always learning. So she learns through institutes, but I like to learn things on my own. But it doesn't matter how you do it. It just matters that you keep on. So it doesn't matter what happens to Pastor Bussett tomorrow. Like, let's say there's no job for engineer, she can become a psychologist. And if she can't be a pastor, she'll do something else. And it's the exact same with me. There are so many different avenues, so many different directions that I can go to. And this is because we have worked upon ourselves, we have values inside of ourselves, and you should become this type of person. It won't come any other way aside from working hard, increasing your knowledge, increasing your wisdom. You need to become someone big outside of yourself, from yourself. You should not become ordinary. This is the only way you could be different. There's no other way you can become a man with high values and quality. There's no way you can do that by not being serious in life. Self-education is one of the most important values in life. Keep on learning by yourself. Keep on learning what is new. There's nothing better than that. There's no other way to spend your time. So what else can you spend your time on, aside from just self-education? You can spend the time that you have on other people. This is the second most important value in this life. So the first is yourself. Spending time on yourself, on developing yourself, on forming new characteristics in yourself. new experiences, new specialties, new knowledge. This is what is most important. Just yourself, working on yourself. So when we see what's happening with coronavirus and this quarantine, it is actually a great opportunity for us. You're not allowed to walk outside? Perfect. I'll stay at home. Perfect. I can't go to the job? I sit at home and I learn other things. I can't visit my friends? That's good. There's more time for me to focus on myself. So these circumstances are an opportunity to work on yourself. This is only if you know how to spend your time wisely. So you take these bad circumstances and you say, oh, thank you, God. I will stay at home. At least I have an excuse to stay at home. And I can form the best version of myself. Some people that are listening to me right now, you seem as if we're young. It's too late for us. But it is never too late for knowledge. It is never too late for acquiring new qualities. It all depends on how much knowledge you can achieve. The deeper you go, the deeper you are, the more valuable you become in this life. And this is not only financially, just as a person. You become respected. Because as soon as you open your mouth, you say important things. Your words can bring such clarity, and they can even save people. So, like I said, the most important are the qualities you put into yourself. What is the second most important way to spend time? It is on raising up or on blessing other people. So all that knowledge that you have already acquired, you need to now spend it on helping your neighbor, helping your friends. This is what Jesus told us to do. To love our neighbor like we love oneself. God had died for our sins. There's no other better example. With any way you want to do it, should all be towards helping yourself and other people. Everything that is made for people. Even Jesus died for people. So everything we do for other people is very important. That is a very important way to spend your time. And why did I say you are first place about how to spend your time? Because if you don't have quality, if you don't have values, if you haven't become a great person, there's no way for you to be able to help and influence other people. You won't have enough to say. You won't be free to say anything. You will be lost. You'll have nothing to say. You won't be able to tell people what you don't have. You can only give people what you have. So first, become a person of value, and then the second thing you need to do is start influencing yourself and other people and your neighbors, etc., and your whole society. If you have created inside of you a great person and a lot of good values, it will be seen in how you treat others, and your character, how you respect others, how you love others. It will all be seen. So second most important thing that we can do with our time is to spend it on other people. Spend it on other people. Spend it on helping others, on blessing others, on teaching other people. Look at the most perfect life that was on earth. It was on Jesus Christ. How did he spend his time? He spent his time talking to God and talking to other people. And how did he talk to other people? He was helping them. He was opening their eyes. He was an answer to their questions. We are exactly the same. So time, we shouldn't view it casually. We shouldn't let it just pass by us. We need to be goal-driven and goal-oriented. We need to be driven towards serving other people, helping other people, to put themselves into people. How can I help people? What knowledge do I have? What experience do I have? Any questions, you should ask these questions to yourself. And then find those people who may need your help. So this is why we have social media, we have all this technology. It really makes it so much easier for us. We can go on YouTube, we can go on Facebook, you can go on all these social sites, Instagram, Telegram. You don't even need to show your face. You can show a random profile picture and then actually be saying knowledge. You don't even have to spend your money on it. But the most important thing is for you to be helping people. And you need to be blessing everyone that is around you. What you do for other people is completely different. But don't worry, there's a third way you can spend your time. What is the third way where you can spend your time in a good way? So like, how can you spend your time? How can you spend your time wisely? So remember, first one, spend it on yourself, on learning more. Secondly, is on creating values in others, in helping others, in blessing others. And third, you have to spend money, spend time on creating products. They can be physical products, they can be tied to your specialty, or tied to your experiences, or to your knowledge. You need to show a tangible product. You can spend your time on forming some sort of product, some sort of product that you can show. These are the three ways we should spend your time. You should spend your life. Those are the things that are worth it. However, the basis of all these three things should always be your life's purpose and the will of God. The products that you create should be the products that God has put on your life, that He has put on your heart to help people. So these need to be connected to your calling. There are many people on the earth who need help. And you can create products to help certain types of people. This is also our calling. So we aren't just running around and doing anything. No, we need to do the things that feel right to us. That is our calling. We're spending time on ourselves so we can be prepared. And Jesus Himself has gone through this. He has rose not only physically, He rose in wisdom, He rose in understanding. So He matured in many different ways. He kept on increasing His knowledge, increasing His understanding. He wasn't only holding on to the fact that He was the Son of God and He was the ultimate Christian. No, He kept on learning, kept on working on Himself, both physically and emotionally. And we need to do the exact same thing. This is why Jesus could effectively serve people. Remember, this is the second way of how you can spend your time. And then He started creating products, and we always read His products in the Bible, all those preachings, all those sermons that come from His words. Those are His products that He has created. So I believe all of you have knowledge, all of you have some specialty. You can create it out of yourself. So remember, number one, Work on yourself, work on your qualities, become a person who can influence the world. Number 2, spend time on helping and creating values inside of others, on blessing others. And number 3, spend your time on creating products to help people. These are the most effective ways to spend your time in 24 hours. If you have kids, you can input your knowledge into them. Think about it. Why do we have kids? To input into them your values, to make them a better person than you. But as humans, we think, oh, there are kids, we can do anything with them. No, they need to be taught right, and they need to be blessed so they can bless others as well. This is how we bless others. When we create these goods and services and products that people use that become a blessing to others, it's also a way we can spend our time wisely. So I think I've explained this effectively to you. Remember, make yourself a person of value. How can you do it? With 3 main points. But for us not to get confused, not to get lost, we need to always do all these things on the basis. We need to keep on asking ourselves, are we doing what the will of God is? Is this what God wants us to do? Are we going to be happy? We will be happy if we do what God expects of us. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. The time that we use shouldn't just be spent on our job, on complaining. No, it should be spent in the best way possible, especially during this quarantine time. We need to bless not only ourselves, but other people as well, all for the kingdom of God. So please be blessed. We shall see you tomorrow.